I'd like to welcome everyone to the conversation where we talk about everything Cowboys. My favorite team, your favorite team, America's team. Here with your host, Coach Marv.
Cowboy Nation, how are you doing on this day after the Thanksgiving holiday? Still is the holiday, man. I'm sorry that my holiday was fulfilled with a lot of joy, man. I went over some relatives' house that we hadn't been over there in a while, man, and I spent that holiday with them. I usually get a chance to get away and get back and get with Boss Cowboy and do the live show, but we were really enjoying our holiday, man. We did watch some of the game. I didn't get a chance to watch the full game when I was watching, but I did get a chance to watch the game. I had it recorded and I watched the game today. So now I'm coming on and talking about a little bit of what I saw in the game. I didn't get a chance to watch the game in the all 22 version, but I wanted and I just went through without running back and forth. But very good victory, man. Very excited about having a victory, man. Getting in and getting a true victory on a Thanksgiving, man. It's always good when you can get a victory on Turkey Day with your and celebrate your team getting a victory on the board. It also is great to the point of getting a third victory in a row. Um, and as my topic today and want to talk about, I think the guys did a great job on the live stream. When I went back and watched a little bit of that, they did a great job as always. And hopefully, when we be missing, we'll be back Thursday night and doing that thing again. But a very good football game, and it went just like I thought should go. Kansas City was never going to be a blowout victory. I don't think nobody's going to ever blow Kansas City out, but it's building what I said in my statement again. A big win, but in my title, we got the mantra and where we need to start pushing like we've been pushing since the Raiders game. Do it again mentality. We're in the do it again mentality. And when you continue to have that mentality of the do it again mentality over and over and over again, you build what I consider the biggest word in sports. And probably the biggest word, building the biggest thing in sports, as well as building the biggest thing probably in your life. And that's what's making me excited about this victory. If we're building the word that I'm about to put on the screen right now. And that word, folks, we're starting to build consistency as a football team. When you start stringing victories together, you're starting to build a quality consistency of how you play and what your roles on this team are for you to be successful. What your roles for every player on this team to be successful. Your coaches are starting to get into a mindset of what combinations work well together, and players are starting to fit their roles of what they need to do. The biggest thing that we're starting to build is consistency. And when you start building consistent effort, we're going to get back to some of the things I'm going to talk about briefly today about this culture. folks, I don't know if this culture, I don't know if this is going to pan out to be go to a playoff or a playoff run. There's a lot of football left to play, and we're not even thinking about that far because it's the next game mentality. But what I'm telling you now is that the culture bill is building right in front of your eyes of the Schottenheimer culture of this football team. It's building right in front of your eyes, and I hope you see it. The same building blocks that I talked about week one of my first, week two of my first start of this podcast thing. Y'all starting to see that culture build. It start to build in front of your eyes as we speak. It's building right in front of your eyes. It's building right in front of your eyes. The building blocks of this culture is building right in front of your eyes, people. I don't know if you see it or not. I don't know if you recognize it or not. I don't know if you understand it, but it's building right in front of your eyes. And we're building a consistent effort when you beat teams like the Philadelphia Eagles coming back, a team that's perennial. They say they done made it. They done have the Eagles have made a record for winning close games. They done set a football record for winning close games. And you come back from 21 down and you beat them in a close game. And then when you beat a Kansas City team that they're back against the wall, they have dominated the league of being in championship games. They dominate the league in less than touchdown score games in the last 5 or 6 years. And you win that game, and it goes back and forth with the lead changes. You're building confidence. You're building consider what I consider and when coaches look at is a mental toughness to be able to have adversity, how to straighten yourself out in a game, how to have bad plays, how to self-correct yourself, how to keep pushing forward, how to keep playing till you start playing better. That's a key because then no one can ever hold you down. And that's what consistency is. When you start to get consistent effort across the board on your team, it even helps your fan base. It helps us be able to root for our team because now we are starting to know what to expect from every player on the team. We're starting to see what roles every player has on the team, and now we can root for those such players accordingly. Now we're not asking Florinos to do more than just be a very good blocker on special teams and catch a couple of third down passes. Now we're not asking him to do catch 20 passes. We know what his role is. We know what Hunter Lichty's role is when we watch him block on a running play and he makes blocks and he started making good crucial blocks for us in the running game and in the passing game. Now we know what his role is. Now we understand what Turpin's role is when we give him the ball here and there, and they try to, and he can make explosive plays on the outside. We know what his role is. Now we understand what the span, the backup tight end when he goes out there. We watching when we being successful. We watching him dominate guys. We understand it's not about catching balls when he catch a ball here because we know his role is. Now we know when we watching the defense, when we have the rotation, the defensive linemen, and they're doing the job and here and there. Now we know what the role is. We can, as fans, can start to appreciate our team because there's a consistent effort being built on our football team. Have we arrived yet? I caution our fans. We hadn't arrived yet. We hadn't accomplished anything yet. We're in the process of building something, and our culture, our new culture, is building right in front of our eyes. That's why they're saying that there's a different feeling about this team because it's changing. Some people want to say our defense has taken another level because we have brought in the guys and traded. I've said since 3 or 4 weeks ago, I said to change our defense, we need to change one thing. We need to do one thing to get better. We need to concentrate on one thing. And know what that one thing was? Just play a little bit more physical on the back end. Just be more physical on the back end. And as what I saw on the film or saw with the game in the last 2 weeks, I saw a little bit more physicality on the back end. I seen a little bit more effort, but it's not there all the way yet. Am I happy with safety play at this particular point in time? Because you know you hear Coach Marv talking. No, I'm not. Still not. I think if this team had better safeties, we would be even a bigger monster on defense. But I think our safeties, and this is no the credit to no one. I think our safeties are slow, and I think Donovan Wilson is coming with a lot of still trying to give that hit, be that hitter. And what I seen of Malik Hooker before he went out, I don't know if he went out because he was hurt or he went out because of what I saw early. I didn't see an aggressive Malik Hooker. I didn't see a guy attacking the ball. I seen a guy that's running up at the end of every play. And this is not talking bad. I'm calling a spade a spade. You got to be able to self-evaluate yourself, and you can't just be all peaches, creams, and roses because we won. I did see a guy coming up late. Now, did he get hurt? I'm not saying I wanted to get hurt. Then they brought in number 14. Same thing. I still think if we increase our safety play to aggressive hitters with some speed, oh man, this defense will be over the top. Because I can work with the first two levels. Our cornerbacks are tackling a lot better. Getting Elam out of there has helped us out. I've heard recently that they're bringing back Diggs. Now, whoever's on this show or they watch this show and watch this Coach Marv, I want you to understand what I'm about to say about Diggs. I think Diggs can come back and give some swag to this defense. But if he ain't coming to tackle and to be a physical corner, we could do without him. If he's not coming with the mentality to be a banger, we could do without him. I do not want that type of mentality in our back end because it's cancerous. I don't need a guy that can cover. I need a complete cornerback. Now, somebody might not like that because they're looking at interceptions. I need a guy that's not going to give up additional yardage. I need a guy, if they try to play this underneath game, that's going to stop first and downs. I need a guy that's going to attack the football and turn a 5 yard, what they think get a 7 yard gain to a 4 yard gain. I need a guy that when they get an 8 yard gain, I need to turn that to a 5 yard gain. I do not need a guy that they throw the ball 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage and he gets 15 yards or 10 yards. I do not need that. I don't need a guy that's not trying to hustle to get to the football and stop the play. I don't need a guy that's going to say, you tackle him, I'll be out the way. I'm not saying that that's bad. I'm not saying that I'm denigrating Diggs. I'm not. I think he could be a great, but I need the Alabama Diggs, the Nick Saban Diggs. If I get that, he can enhance this team even more. Because again, the back end physicality and aggressiveness is the key for moving this defense into with this defensive line, with these sets of linebackers. If you give me an aggressive back end, we're going to push this defense into another atmosphere. Or we're going to take it down to just be mediocre. So that's the key to us being. That's the key of just getting a little bit more physical on the back end. And hopefully we can get a little bit more physical on the back end of this defense. Other than that, I think we're building consistency. Consistency is the key. And when you get in this part of the season, when teams talk about who's hot, you hear about the same people say, that team is hot. Uh, play with that team because that team is hot. That team right there is on fire. That team is the team to beat because that team is the hot team that's going on today. And people say, "Oh, I like that team because that team is the hot team." Oh, I thought I was gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. And they talking about that team is a hot team. Okay, just wanted to check and see if I was online with you. Okay, thank you, man. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate the. Okay, let me get the studio chat. All right. Yeah, and that's what we want, man. We want to we want that consistency because when teams talk about you hear NFL talking about they're gonna be a hard team to knock out in the playoffs, and they're talking about you getting high at the right time. If you look around the NFL, that's why you're having these upsets. You having guys getting upset here and there. It wouldn't I wouldn't be shocked if New Orleans uh come and upset the Rams this week. I wouldn't be upset. I would not be not upset. I wouldn't be shocked because now when you get to this point, the teams that's playing more consistent play are the most dangerous teams. It's not about all the talent. It's not all about who got the flash. It's about the teams that's going out consistently playing at a certain level. And this is what you're building now. We dug ourselves a hole because we took a while for us to get the consistent play. But the culture build is being in place. And that's what I like. I think we starting to look at talking about how great Pickens is and how great. Yes, they're playing good, but they're playing good because they're understanding what they do best, and and where we're doing that over and over again. How many slants have they thrown the ball to Pickens? This reminds me of the Dallas Cowboys of the old. Pickens is a great slant runner. He's a big body. He runs the slant well, and they throw it over and over and over again. And the ball is such on time that they say, we don't care if you know. We're gonna do it. Now I saw something else in this game, and I want to point out some of the things that I have been talking about that's different that I have been saying for the longest. It's important for our players. One, we throwing CD Lamb 9 routes down the sideline, down the field. We throwing CD Lamb down the field. Think about in the last 3 years how many times you've seen CD Lamb catching 9 routes. We hadn't been doing that. Now we throwing the ball with CD Lamb is on the move. And when you put a guy like CD Lamb on the move, what happens? Now he's catching the ball down the field. That's what he did in Oklahoma. Now you letting Pickens run the slant routes. Then you throw him, but his big body. Players are learning when you start playing with consistency. Players start learning their roles. It makes it better for you to coach when you understand what their roles is. It makes it better for the player when he knows what his role is. It makes it better for the fan because y'all know what to root for. Y'all even know what to look for in close. This like what he said about closeout games and Pickens in the closeout game. When we get to a closeout game, when we get to the closeout part of the game, what y'all looking for? Y'all looking for Pickens with that slant. Well, is the other team looking for that too, right? But what I've always said, if you do something and this a player's good at it, they're gonna beat coverage most times. I saw Dak want to throw the ball slant a couple times, and they jumped the slant, and he pulled it back and went to Flournoy's another play. You got an orchestrator at quarterback that's showing you. And if you're a Cowboy fan and you let people out there in the outside world attack Dak Prescott, and y'all don't realize what you have in Dak Prescott, and you don't realize that the rest of the team has to come up to where Dak Prescott is for us to win a championship, and it ain't Dak Prescott, if you allow people to tell you about Dak can't win it and all that, you just as fool as the people who said it. Because the rest of the NFL know. The rest of the teams know. If the rest of the team comes up to the quality of Dak Prescott and the maturity of Dak Prescott, they understand the Cowboys are gonna be hard to beat. And they'll feed into you saying, "Oh, Dak ain't that," because they want the rest of the team to sit back and act like it's all about Dak and not come up to Dak's level. The old bait and switch has always worked. Deflect on somebody else and get people off your case. Don't you see that in this country right now? It's always been a deflection. Always somebody else. Never me. But consistency, man. Consistency, and there's another word that I'm starting to see from this team that as you win and you start building consistency, players start to find out their roles, and then they start doing this. When players start to find their roles, then they start to sacrifice. When they start to sacrifice, saying, Williams said, "Hey man, Davis, get in there, make that long run." That don't stop my shine, but what that does is now it builds a role for Davis on this team. Now he has his role, and when we watch the locker room scene, and the applause that they gave Davis when he announced Davis with the 43-yard touchdown, now you're starting to see the culture build because the culture build says we celebrate everybody. If you got a good culture, if you got a good culture in your family, if you got a good culture at your job, if you got a good culture on your football team, which is a microcosm of life, if you got a good culture, everybody celebrates everybody's success because they're sacrificed. Consistency and sacrifice, people. Consistency and sacrifice. We're starting to see the culture build of the Dallas Cowboys, of the new Schottenheimer era. And I'm not saying it's going to be complete this year that we can say, oh man, because see, our fans will run with stuff. And we'll get to the point we'll start saying, well, we finna win the Super Bowl today. No. Do it again mentality means our next component is where we want to do it again on. Hold on one second. I'll be right back. Hey, baby. Why? Oh, it's on. It's on. It's on now. Yeah. Okay. I'm back, people. I'm sorry. Wanted to make sure that I didn't lose. I had something going on. Hope I ain't lose a lot of people. I'm back. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that, folks. I had someone in and out of my house, man. I wanted to make sure we fried some turkeys to take some fried turkey somewhere, and now we trying to clean up all the oil and take all the oil back to the recycle, man. So it was a very busy day, man, on yesterday with all the stuff, man. But thank you, man. But getting back to my point, sacrifice, man, and just like we said, 1 week at a time. We back to 0-0. We 1-0. We are just 1-0 today. We're 1-0 today. Yeah, we 1-0 today. And we go back to 0-0. After today, we get one day to celebrate, which is Friday. Saturday, we go back to work, preparing for Detroit. And we go back to 0-0. We built a hole. You can't get out of a hole in one jump. We put the dirt there. We had the shovel. We dug the hole. We put ourselves in this hole. And now we got to get out of this hole one shovel of dirt at a time and put it back in the hole. My parents always told me this, man. He said, you can get, you ever heard this thing say you make your bed, you lie in it? But they had also had a philosophy too, and it said, "You're in a hole. You're in a problem. You got a problem going on. You're in a hole. Somewhere down the line, thank you, man. I appreciate hey, man, thank you so much for the $1.99 super chat, man. Thank you so much, man, for the thank you, man. Thank you so much, man, for the $1.99 super chat with generosity. I said 899. Thank you so much for the $1.99 super chat. I wish I could put that up on my screen, but my screen won't let me see if I can get those. See if it bringing up those new comments on here. Nope, it doesn't bring those comments. I'm trying to find where I can get those super chat things up on my screen here. But thank you so much. I'm not on the YouTube platform, but thank you so much, man. Thank you so much, um, Ginger. I really appreciate you, man. You. That's listen, Ginger. It's my is one of the reasons she puts that chat out, that super chat out there because she's showing support and trying to show support of me and my cowboy thing. But this is a person that's very important in my life, people. And this is the person that's that's that that's motivating me today to be on here, man. And um just want to tell her how much I appreciate her. Thank you so much for the super chat. And my channel does take super chats, and I thank all of y'all that's out here listening to me for being supportive. This even having me tune in because in Coach Marv Real Talk, we don't talk about all this fake stuff about, man, I love this player, man. This player, the best player in the world. He does that, man. We can't be stopped. We it's all it, we ain't nobody can do nothing to us. No, I see what we need to do to build a team. I loving what we doing right now, but I see the Schottenheimer culture being built in front of our eyes, people. It's being built in front of our eyes, man. We are building something that is special, that's right in front of our eyes. And Schottenheimer is telling us that we are starting to see sacrifice. We're starting to see some consistency. And then there's something else we're starting to find out. We're starting to see. Folks, we're starting to see confidence. Folks, I'm just gave you 3 words that's showing that the culture build is building. This is not no hype train. These are things that's going to last long term. Now, is it going to pull to full fruition this year, or it's going to start a dominating train if we continue to grind and tinker with this a little bit going into the off season? Yes, because what you're building, one, consistency in play. 2, you start to build roles so people know what they need to sacrifice. People sacrificing and locking into their roles. And then the third thing, you start to build confidence. And a team that has confidence, a player that has confidence, he's hard to beat. You put talent with confidence, it's hard to beat. You put talent and it lacks confidence, you could beat talent because it lacks confidence. You put no talent with no confidence, you drafted first round on the draft pick, or you in the lottery. If you're in basketball, you the doormat. Confidence builds everything. Consistency is a product of a person being confident and knowing their roles to sacrifice. All this, the confidence, the sacrifice, is building a consistency in this football team. And we got consistent football team at this time of the year with the talent we have. People, You're building something. We're building a culture right in front of your eyes, and and we need to see it. If I say we building a culture, let's go back to the stuff I talked about. First couple of shows I had. First couple of shows I had. Let me take that. Let me go back and take the confidence off. First couple of shows I had. I talked about this. Go back and look at my playlist and go about when I think the playlist is about when I say building the culture. We had this is a tough season we had. I said we need to build a culture for this tough season we got ahead. Because I talked about this early on in the season when I talked about how tough the schedule was, and it turned out to be not as tough in certain areas because I thought Washington and I thought the Giants will be better football teams. And they're not. But still individual games. So it's still tough. But I said that the Schottenheimer was building the culture. And I said these were the building blocks to the new culture and identity in Dallas. I talked about this at the beginning of this training camp about these are the building blocks that Schottenheimer's trying to put in place. That's the new identity and the culture and identity in Dallas. And we're seeing these things start to come across right in our face. We're starting to see that they got rid of Elam and the physicality. And remember, they got rid of Elam not because Elam couldn't cover, because he was turning down tackles. Jalen Tolbert dressed this past week, but the week before he didn't dress, probably didn't dress because he wasn't going out there and busting his butt physically on the special teams and blocking when he was on the field. They're showing you that certain players are getting put on the back burner because they ain't being physical. They expect their running backs to run tough, and if the new running back is not going to run tough, guess what they're doing with him? Yeah, we ain't had a identity in a long time. And the culture built in this, if we're seeing a culture being built at this game. Now, I'm not saying it can be built in a day, but we're 11 games in. We're starting to see these same things that I put up here weeks ago. See, I tell you this one thing about Coach Marv. Coach Marv, listen, I don't come and say things on the thing. I'm not reactionary. I understand by playing football, coaching football, and watching and studying football as long as I understand that it's not just a flash in the pan. If you're going to have a great team in the greatest team sport in sports, it has to have more than substance than just some flash in the pan talent plays and some highlights. It got to have some substance behind the scenes. It got to have some building blocks behind the scenes to be able to weather storms, to weather adversity, to weather everything that you're going to do as a team. When you have those things, your team is able to handle those storms. And what storms and how this culture is being built? Physicality. We're starting to see that we're being more physical in our run game and our running backs. We already has identified that Ferguson is going to be the catcher, the pass catcher, and he's getting better at blocking. But we already know Span is just a road blocker. He knows his identity. Go check the film out. Go look at Lou Tate's film study on Span. Look how dominating he is in blocking. What did I tell you 2 or 3 years ago? I said it from the start. If your tight end blocking is good, your running game is going to be good. Is not running game better? Go look at your tight end blocking. Number two, you're starting to see a more disciplined football team. Yes, we had some hiccups in penalties, but in the last 3 games, we're kind of not getting the stuff that hurt us. In the early part of the Philadelphia game, we was undisciplined, but as we got along, we stopped doing those things. Number three, Schottenheimer is building this team mentally tough. We've been through adversity of a young man tragedy that is this that's still on my mind. This team said the flag that they bring out there for the young man. But to be mentally tough, to get through that, to work with that adversity, and to come out and win 3 games in a row after that, showing that Schottenheimer's word in that locker room keeps everybody focused. We could talk about it all. Sometimes he make a hiccup on a play call here and there, but his mentality is good for this football team. What I always said about this team for the last 3 years, 4 years, I said the biggest problem with this team, everybody kept talking about talent. I always say the biggest problem with the team was that we were soft mentally. We were a mentally tough football team. But when you start to be consistent, when you start to be able to come back against good teams and lock in, play bad, get better, come back. I told you that the victory against Philadelphia coming back and winning that football game is going to build a toughness. And to come back 4 days later and get in a dogfight with a perennial winning team, lose the lead, gain the lead, lose the lead, and then what impressed me the most, how many times in Dallas in the last 5 years have we needed a first down? We need a couple of first downs to put the game away, and we could go and do the old Dallas Cowboys rise up in Tom Landry stands. Think about this. Not because we got an interception by the defense, not because we got a turnover. We needed a first down, Uncle Charles. We needed to get a first down, and we got it and ended the game. That is mental toughness. We ain't did that in a long time. And the coaching and the leadership of Dak Prescott and the coaching and the leadership is starting to, we're starting to see Dak leadership across the team. We're starting to see Coach Schottenheimer leadership. We're starting to see the roles of the defense. What is happening when you get confidence with the defense, Uncle Charles and the rest of y'all, when the players start to buy in, it makes the defensive calls easier. If the players are not bought in, nothing, no defense is going to work. And yes, we could talk trash about the Joneses, but the Joneses have made moves this year to bring the talent base up. We can't fail this on the Joneses. I told you 2 weeks ago, 3, 4 weeks ago, I said the only problem I got with the Joneses this year, I got one big problem. If y'all want to know my big problem, I'm gonna tell you my big problem with the Joneses I got of this year. And gonna say, and someone gonna say, what's your big problem, uh, Coach Marv, with the Joneses? And I'm gonna tell everybody my biggest problem with the Joneses. this year. I'm trying to make sure my screen gets back up. I see y'all see me on the screen. Now I'm trying to get it back in front of me. My biggest problem with the Joneses is this should have been started last year. What you see with Schottenheim now should be already put in place. We should have got rid of Mike McCarthy. We should never left a letter coach and his lame duck season because we knew that wouldn't work. We should have started the process with Schottenheimer last year. And we'll be way more advanced this year. We wasted a year. Because when you don't sign a coach to extension on his last year, you already know you're going to let him go. That's the only problem I see with this. You should stop putting the resources in to build this new culture starting last year. You waited a whole year, and as my dad used to say, assing around. And this process could have been far more advanced. But it's a process. And we're seeing it be built right in front of our face. Now, does that mean we're not going to go through some adversity? Does that mean that we're not going to maybe lose a game? That means that we're just going to beat everybody to death? No, that's not. That ain't how football is. But it does mean when we face adversity, can we convert back to this culture where we are building? Can we convert back to what's been successful to us? Can we convert back and get back on track and get it straightened out? See, good teams don't mean they don't never lose. They just don't lose often. I always tell somebody I used to be a card player. I used to like play cards. I love to play bid whist and spades and I always tell people that people say you lose in cards, man. You know, I never tell people I don't lose. I just don't lose often. I ain't never tell nobody I can't lose. I just don't lose often. That's how you want to be. We're not gonna get it. I don't lose 2 games in a row. When I play cards, I may lose 2 games in a row, but it's not very often. And I don't go in no 5 or 6 game losing streaks at all. Now I have 5 or 6 winning game streaks. I don't lose often. That's where you want to be in this. You want to be able to say consistency gets broken every once in a while, but we know how to get back. And that's the word I keep pushing you. Consistency, sacrifice, and confidence. That's the 3 words that's gotten us to 3 victories in a row. That's the word that got to go onto the road and be a gangster, a victory out of a hostile territory place in Detroit, Michigan on next Thursday night. Because they're going to be super pumped up. We don't play well in Detroit. We never played well in Detroit. They're going to be superly pumped up. Their season is on the line. Their backs against the wall. We're going to come in there, and we got a gangster. A victory. Oh, we're going to do a show on gangster again. You got to go in there and gangster a victory on the road. You got to take that same consistent effort. You got to take that same sacrifice. You got to take that same confidence into Detroit, Michigan, Motown. Blue collar people against a blue collar team that's going to try you. They came down here last year to Dallas and really tried to run the score up on you. Oh, I'm pushing it up big. I want y'all to share this with some of your Cowboy fans. Share this with people. I want y'all to share this video and tell people, say, Coach is talking some good stuff here. Coach is talking about these things that we need to do that we are seeing that's going to build a championship mentality, a championship football team. I can't guarantee you that's going to win a championship, but I can guarantee you if you don't have it, you ain't going to win it. You got to go gangster it. You got to go gangster it. So we're building the culture right in front of our eyes. We're building a culture right in front of our eyes, and we're going to another big time cultural challenge next week. And as my title says, what does my title say on this live? Great win. Do it again. I love the Staple Singers. That's my favorite, one of my favorite groups. And one of my favorite songs is Let's Do It Again. Because if it's something good and if it's working correctly, if you consistently do it over and over again, you're going to be great at that. That's why I always look when I used to find out players. I used to tell my coaches and say, hey, find out what the guy do well when you learn them. And then when you find out what he does well, at first, let him do that over and over again. If we had a receiver, a young guy that was very fast, and he could run a 9 route really fast and get behind it and catch the ball, I'll say, okay, let's try to and listen. Title of my show. Look at my baby. Listen. Title of my show. Great win. Let's do it again. And when I used to have a player, right? I used to have a player, and I'm gonna put that up there all the time. Let me put it up there again. I used to have a player, and I used to find out if he could play well, right? And he could run, like I said, he could run a 9 pattern, and he could run that really well. I'll tell the coaches that, hey, before we start teaching, we'll teach him other routes because he's young. But let's make him do that route over and over again because he does that well, and we're going to do that over and over again. And most times, if he does that well, he's going to be successful in it. And he's going to be successful even if the people know he's going to do it because that's what he does well. And then when he started doing it well, guess what he started building? Confidence. And then when he gets confidence, we can move him into other areas of being development because he's confident now. The worst thing you could do with a young player is to go out there and try to make him do stuff he's not comfortable with. Then you kill his confidence, and he ain't nothing. Do it again. If this is what you're good at, this is how we are blueprint that we have won 3 games in a row. 2 reasons. We're going to do the same thing again. We're going to change some things, but you got to have the mentality that I got to go out there and prove myself every time because you can't rest on your laurels. You just as good as your last play. We just as good as our last victory. We can win 3 in a row and go and lay an egg in Detroit and people forget about the other 3 games. Just like that. We're seeing the culture build, people, right in front of our eyes. It usually take a year for the culture build to build. That's why I said the Joneses. I don't think I'm really mad at the Joneses because they waited a whole year to start this thing. And when we talk about certain other things, I got another thing. We're gonna go back to something else I talked about. We talked about these things. We talked about winning the game. And if you look back at the last 3 games, we doing pretty good in these. Do y'all remember early on in the season what was killing our defense? It was number 2 on this list. It was killing our defense, but people were getting explosive plays on our defense over and over and over again. And do y'all remember what I said about explosive plays? I said there's 3 reasons that 3 or 4 reasons that explosive plays happen on your defense on a constant basis. Either alignment or assignment. You're not lining up right, or you're not doing your assignment. I said it's either effort, that you ain't physical enough, people breaking tackles and all that. Or I said you just ain't got the athletes. On our defense, we're trying to correct the athletes. The physicality has gotten a little bit better. The lineman assignments gotten better because we're getting more familiar with our defense. And we have cut down explosive plays, but guess who's getting explosive plays now? Pickens and CeeDee Lamb is getting explosive plays, and our running game is getting explosive plays every game. We're killing people with explosive plays. We're winning that battle. And we win the battle of explosive plays, and guess what we're doing? Guess our offense look better. Guess our defense look a little bit better. We ain't giving up explosive plays. I talked about explosive plays. Nobody talked about that now. Everybody want to talk about all kind of other stuff. I told you. Get the explosive plays battle in your favor, it's going to be hard for you to beat. Get the turnover battle in your favor, it's going to be hard for you to beat. Get the penalty battle in your favor, it's going to be hard for you to beat. Get the effort and physicality battle in your favor. Like I said, defense, just get a little bit more physical. Tell me you ain't seeing these things in the last 3 games. Tell me you ain't seeing these things. You're seeing an improvement in these things when you bring your rookie cornerback. You bring the other guy. You get rid of Elam off the field. You line these guys with a little bit of athleticism. You're getting your linebacker back, number 13. You get a little bit. You get a little bit better athlete on the field. You're getting a little bit more assignment of bases. Your linebacker is really getting informed with the offense. We look a lot less confused on the field. The effort is coming when you get the guy, the new defensive lineman in there. He's pushing the effort. All these things, man. Football is not complicated. When you share this video, you're going to find out that Coach Marv, from a coach's point of view, we're seeing these things where everybody else ain't talking about them. But I bet you seeing them. I bet they talk about it in the Dallas Cowboys locker room. And these things, when you do start doing these things and you start winning these battles, you start consistently. Let me say it again. You start consistently winning these battles, which that means you being consistent in your play. You start winning games. Do you win on all of them? No. But you don't lose often. You don't win them all. You just don't lose often. And that's where we at, man. We are becoming a more consistent football team in how we go about our play. You're right. Look at this comment. Limiting explosive plays and making teams have to go the long drives. For error of the post offense. Man, listen here, man. IQ Football IQ, man. If you make a team have to put play and play and play together, that gives them more opportunities for you to play the defense to make a play and make a turnover, for them to get behind the sticks and have a penalty, for you something to go wrong with the. You give them 2 or 3 explosive plays and they get 2 or 3 drives. The explosive plays are what we call easy points. That's the same thing we say in basketball. You don't want guys to get layups, fast break layups. Those are easy. But when they have to work against your defense, most times you got a chance to stop them. This is in baseball. You don't want guys to get up there and get home runs. You try to limit them from getting home runs because that's the one swing, that's points. That's runs. Make them get hits and doubles and run the bases. Limited big plays, man. And then on the other end, Joker's World, when we got Pickens and CeeDee Lamb making big play after big play, we killing your defense. We're making the game easy. And then we turn around and Malik Davis and Williams getting 30 and 40-yard runs every game. Ain't we seeing that? When we want to translate how we winning, look at those things. Are we getting consistent in doing those every game? Yes. We're building consistency. That's right. When you get confidence in your routes and stuff starts to go well, now everybody, let me tell you something what this statement right here means. Let me show you what this one means. Same thing about Joker's World. And I forget about the spitting coach, because I don't, and he telling me I'm telling the truth, but I'm not cutting out. I ain't saying about me. It's just the football I want to talk about. Because now when we get confidence, we feel like we can run every route. When you start building confidence as a team, everybody runs their routes good. You get everybody coming off the ball, and when you got an orchestrator like Dak Prescott giving the ball to certain people in the right spots, throwing the ball on time, knowing that you got a quarterback that's running the show properly, everybody comes out running their route. When Dak needs a help from a person like Florinos, I seen him when he tried to throw the slant, I think to either Pickens or Lamb, and it wasn't there, and he had to come back off of it, and he found Florinos because Florinos was working hard to get open because what? Confidence in the offense. When you ain't got no confidence in the offense, you get guys run around and they run on the backside, they run around, and then when you try to come back to them, they stand around looking at you. And then that ends up being a sack. He's right about that. Great comment. Sir, you must be a coach. Y'all have coached. Great comments. Great comments. Great comments. Uncle Charles was in the chat. Always Uncle Charles. Man, love you, man. Great comments, man. Listen, we're starting to see a culture build right in front of our eyes. Some of the things I need from you as my fan base. 2 things I need from you. Well, maybe 3. And there'll probably be some more next week. But right now, what I need for you is do. 1, I need you to say, yesterday, I hope that you had a great Thanksgiving, and I hope that you're still at this point in time in this Thanksgiving season, this holiday, even you're back at work or if you're coming up on the weekend, you got to work on the weekend. I'm hoping you're taking this time to spend with your families and enjoy your families for more than this. Oh man, appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the super chat, Scott of Joker's World, man. Thank you, man. Yes, he is building. Scotty is building Shotty is building a great championship team. But listen here, not a championship game, not a championship. Uh, where some people say he's not building a. He's trying not just a team. He's building a championship organization. Because see, when you build a championship organization, you're in contention every year. When you build a championship team, it could be a flash in the pan. But when you build a championship organization of how you go about the way you go about your work, the culture of how your team plays, then you're building a championship organization on the football side. See, when you build a football side, right, it can get you can get by with the ownership doing crazy stuff because it becomes a cultural thing, and then you start building talent. Talent starts to play better because you have the right things in place. That's why you see San Francisco um still playing well and all these stars hurt because the culture is in place. When we get the culture in place here, I remember I'm down in San Antonio. If anybody out there, and I ain't dating myself because it ain't been that long ago, but I'm a basketball fan as well, and I'm gonna start doing some basketball content as well. But I'm gonna say this: I remember the San Antonio Spurs when they had Ginobili and Tim Duncan, and they could have those guys hurt for a long period of time, but they still winning. I remember this thing about the OKC Thunder this year. One of their best players is out, and they ain't lost them in one game. They had two players that were best players is out, but they still ain't lost in one game. Why? Because they're building a culture. They got a culture of how they go about and the sacrifice and the roles, and they're playing with confidence that they can withstand some people being out. Are they better with the players? Yeah. But they're able to sustain with some of the players being out. And that's what Schottenheimer is building. Yeah. And Jerry's buying into it. Jerry's buying into it. Only thing Jerry got to do is stay out of it and not be a coach. Just be an owner, brother. The great Lou Holtz used to say this. The great Lou Holtz said this. The great Lou Holtz said, let the players play, let the coaches coach, let the general, let the administrators administrate, let the professors professor. And all of us be on the same page with the same goal, but let everybody else do their job and not other people's job. And we'll be successful. Because when the players try to do the coach's job, you're gonna run into problem. When the coaches try to do the player's job, they're gonna run into problem. When the administrators try to do the coach's job, you're gonna run into problems. Let the players play, let the coaches coach, let the administrators administrate, let the professors profess. And in professional terms, let the players play, let the coaches coach, let the general manager general manage, let the owners own, and everybody else be in the right. Everybody be okay. But to recap, let's do it again. That's what we're talking about doing again. And the three things in doing it again is and we've been showing consistency is starting to show in our play. The most important thing for life in a football team is to be consistent. And we're consistent. We're starting to find the roles of every player, and they're starting to adapt into their roles. And when they adapt into the roles, that makes it easier for us to root because we know we're rooting for them from a certain player. We're not expecting more from a player that his role is not his role. We expect they're falling into their roles and they're dominating their roles. And when they start doing that, we're starting to see this. Guys are sacrificing for the greater good of the team. I saw that on a sack play the other day. Well, a couple of weeks ago with Clowney. Clowney went inside and grabbed the other guy. He knocked off came inside and knocked the pulling guard off where he could have went to try to make the play himself. He sacrificed his body to knock the blocker off for Olsen to make the tackle in the backfield. Sacrifice coming up on one support and blowing it up a cornerback, coming up and stuffing the run before it gets loose because the linebackers may be having a hard time getting over and he's got to make that tackle. The defensive back. Sacrifice. And after you get finished with sacrifice and you got consistency and you got a team that's sacrificing and they're sacrificing each other and you got consistency, you get this thing right here that you cannot get by. Our team is starting to play with confidence. Have we won the Super Bowl yet? No. Are we building a culture in front of our eyes? Yes. What's the most important thing to this whole thing right now? When we look at what we're trying to build, thank you, baby, for putting it on there for me. We're trying to build these three things. Consistency, we're trying to build sacrifice, and we're building confidence. We build these three things, we can beat anybody on any given Sunday. But we don't care about beating nobody on no given Sunday. We're not talking about the Sunday we're going to play on. We're talking about next Thursday night in Motown. They're the next people on our list. We got our own blacklist. And they are the next people on the blacklist. And we got to go in there and gangster a victory out there. And then we can go down this home stretch, one game at a time, doing it again, making the non-believers believers. 1-0 mentality. Today we 1-0. Tomorrow, a great comment by my man here. Today we 1-0. Tomorrow we 0-0. We 0-0. That's what we got to do. And we got to do this, and I'm going to put this in the comment section. Me and this typing. And I'm going to put it up here in 1 second, people. Hang in there with me. Get our mind on our work. That's how we stay consistent, man. One of my greatest football coaches told us that. How did you come out here every day and perform? How you come out here every day and practice? How you prepare? How you become a better player every day? Same thing I try to express to my players when I was coaching. Get your mind on your work. When your mind is on your work, when your mind is on your work, you are a better player. And I always end my shows, Cowboy Nation, Cowboy football players, Cowboy organization, Cowboy coaches. Get your mind on your work. Let's do it again. Consistency, sacrifice, and confidence. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We may go on live. I may go on live when we may go on live. I may go on live with the Monday night game, or may go on live talking about our next opponent, or just to talk about some football, go live with a live watch party like I always do, because we hadn't done well, like I always do, like I was doing, so we can get a chance to learn some football and see some things. But it's a enjoy this, fans. Have a good time. Talk all the trash you want. Tell the haters to sit down for a while, but get your mind on your work, Cowboy fans. Cowboy football players, get your mind on your work, and your mind should be on Motown after the day, on Motown, Detroit, Michigan. The Detroit Lions on prime time, probably gonna be one of the biggest telecasts on prime. We're gonna be able to get to see our coach. We're gonna be able to see this thing on a different telecast, but we're gonna win this game. Thank you so much for everybody there. Um, Thank you so much for everybody who came in. Thank you so much. Special thanks out to Jennifer, Jenna, Ginger. Thank you so much, baby, um, for support. Thank you so much for all the rest of the people who gave me support, man. Share this video. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to my channel. Share this video and tell people to look out for Coach Marv. Tell them when you put in the comments. Tell them to go out and subscribe on YouTube. I mean, on my YouTube channel. Go and subscribe and follow me on X, on Twitter. Um, Go to Coach Marv Real Talk Facebook. Look my Coach Marv Real Talk Facebook up. Send me a friend request. Follow me on that feature. And follow me on Instagram. Follow me on all the social media platforms. Make sure you send it out there. But what I want you to do more than anything, I want you to like, subscribe. But what I really want you to do is enjoy the content. Until next time, have a great rest of the day. Thank you for I'm going to have a great weekend. Y'all have a great weekend as well.